How goes the family? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully, you guys are having a great and exceptional day. Well, it is that time of the month. I always do this at the beginning of the month. Where I do today's forecast. We're all going to die. It's the 16th edition. And I basically just do this once a month to basically mock the media and to mock the certain things that are happening around the world. Now, obviously, there are very serious issues that are taking place around the world. So I will not make light of that. But certain things have to be addressed, certain things have to be talked about, and I'm here to, because the media always say their job first and foremost is to scare the crap out of you. Second, to keep you scared and confused. I think the only thing that the media, whether it's quote unquote on the left or the right, because I think that's nonsense too, it basically the only thing that they accurately report is the weather and what's happening with certain specific stocks and within the stock market and what could possibly be the next big corporation to break out in the world of AI, the current state of Tesla, the whole nine. So it's interesting. All right. Today's forecast. We're all going to die. So Tesla's not doing too well. Sales are down. The stock isn't performing that well. Now, I myself own shares of Tesla stock. I'm not giving out financial advice. I'm just talking about my personal experiences. I myself own shares of Tesla stocks. I do not own a Tesla and probably will never own a Tesla. It's not because I don't believe in fuel efficiency, but I do believe in not having to wait 30 minutes to an hour to power up my car to make sure that it's good to go. I'm more of a In-N-Out kind of person, like In-N-Out Burger, one of my favorite fast food restaurant chains on the West Coast and down south. When it boils down to getting gas and getting out and whatnot, and with the price of your average price of a Tesla costing what it costs, most people we live right now in a time where even if you make quote unquote six figures, you can barely make ends meet. Okay. Highest form, highest amount of credit card debt in US history. And people have credit card debt to get by because the cost of goods and services have quadrupled. And before I go forward, I'm not making this a Joe Biden thing or a Trump thing because I know we're in the political season and that's what people just love to do. Now, my style never was, never will be. So I'll leave it at that. But cost of a Tesla. There we go. So the average cost of a brand new Tesla ranges from 79,000 to 100,000. Um, and fitting up to $200,000. Um, just going from the cheaper end to the higher end, things of that nature. Brand new, 200 to $250,000. Um, and hey, I'm not mad at people owning Teslas. I myself am very cheap, and I'm glad that I've been very cheap and very cautious because right now, one thing I'll say in the United States of America for the last 3 years, if you do not have children, I'm talking purely financial aspects, don't have student loan debts, don't have a car payment for the most, and you're making six figures, you're not struggling too bad. But if you have those things, even if you do make six figures, you are barely scraping by in a lot of aspects. Now, if you live in maybe like a more rural state, like Mississippi, Alabama, New Hampshire, Vermont, Wyoming, you might not be struggling as bad, especially if you're not located near a major metropolitan area. But if you're in any major metropolitan area and you have children, you have student loan debts, you have high car payments, plus high rent payments or a high mortgage payment, um, then you are in a position to where you are living paycheck to paycheck. And I remember back in my quote unquote younger days, back in my 20s, because I'm in my early 40s now. I remember that there was a time when if you made six figures and even if you did have a family, you were still doing good. You were able to save more money. You were able to invest more money. You was able to start a business, get another career. You were able to do a multitude of things. But it hit me on Wednesday or Thursday. I think it was Thursday. And I was just like, wow, I see how much money I spend on food every week. And I'm just like, I always say, I can only imagine what somebody, and the cost of me buying, I'm not buying more food, but just the regular amount of food that I eat on a regular basis, 7 days a week, how the prices have gone up tremendously. Now, I'm very happy for credit cards, especially the cash rewards back credit cards, air mile credit cards, because I do love to travel. If you've seen I always say, if you're on specifically my Facebook, as far as Larry's Anything Goes, on my Instagram, you will see that I am constantly trying to travel somewhere and have a good time. Like the end of this month, I haven't been to the Pacific Northwest since 2019, before the pandemic, and I had a blast in Toronto, Canada last year, and I'm looking forward to checking out Vancouver, Canada. Even though that's only going to be for a couple hours, but that's all I really need. Um, but that's just where we're at, family. So the mockery I make of the cost of living is that I said before the pandemic and beginning of the pandemic, if you're not about your business, increasing your value, therefore increasing your income, increasing your net worth of people that you engage with on a regular basis, you are really screwing yourself in a sense. You're doing yourself, and if you have a family, you're doing your family a disservice. Okay. And I myself have been guilty of this. So that's why I'm not casting stones. I've tried to reach back to people that I grew up with to see if, maybe we can make something happen. And the older I get, the more I learn that more and more people are just happy and with being basic and very, very mediocre. I'm not mad at that, but I can't vibe with that energy. That's why I'm happy that I'm engaged with a group like EY University. I'm happy that I'm engaged with people that want to talk about investments, want to talk about ideas, talk about things that can get done, instead of just talking about why we can't get things done. That's another thing I've had to learn in the last year. Get away from people that are talking about all the obstacles and not talking about all the solutions. Because the people that are always talking about all the solutions, all the obstacles, those are the ones that are usually easier to be manipulated by the media. And that's why I can have this, program like I have. Today's forecast, we're all going to die, because that's where we're at. That's where we're at. Now, to make fun of something, let's talk about the Republican Party. And I'm going to make fun of the Democratic Party too. So if anybody who's considered themselves a Democrat or Republican, I'm not taking either side. So you're just going to have to deal with that. I know that it sucks. I know life is hard because I'm going to do that, but I must. Um, I must. So let's start with the Republicans, and then we will work our way to the Democrats, because it's at this point, I don't see much of a difference anymore. But it is what it is at the end of the day. So, especially me being from the DMV area, I always make fun of the transplants that come to the DMV area, because they're the first ones that are always, people that move to the DMV area, majority of the time, they either were prior service, I thank them for their service, they work for corporations. A lot of times they work for corporations that are considered federal government contractors. They are federal government employees. So they are very heavily involved with the political process, because in a sense, it does affect their day to day more than your everyday average working American who has no connection with working with the federal government on any level, who has no connection with being in the military on any level. So in that sense, I get it. And that's the beautiful thing about the United States of America. You have the freedom of being able to choose. You have the freedom to vote, freedom to not to vote. Well, as long as you don't screw it up in prison, or as long as you're here illegally. But that's another story for another day. That's what the Democrats always get it wrong with, breaking laws and the sanctuary city nonsense. But I digress. Like I said, I'm very neutral, because I see the nonsense on both sides. Because I always give the federal government credit, because the federal government, the beautiful thing about the United States government, regardless who's in the White House, governor's house, or mayor's house, they have helped create so many millionaires. They've protected this great nation. So that's why when I talk about the political aspects of it, that's at this point, it's probably always been like this since the beginning of time. That's just propaganda and entertainment. So therefore it entertains me. I always take that scene from Denzel Washington, Training Day. He's like, see this newspaper? It's entertaining me. It entertains me. It's 90% BS, but I like it because it entertains me. And somebody made a video about saying when it comes to social media, and that's what social media is for the most part. It's 90% BS, but it's very entertaining. Hey, I'm guilty of this myself. I'll get on a TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and I'll, look and see what's happening. I'll laugh and joke at stuff when it comes to a variety of issues, things, and subject matters, and I go on about my day. Because being an '80s baby, we had life before social media, and you can have life without social media. And to be quite honest, the pandemic, I think all of us overindulged on social media so much because they had no choice because of the lockdowns. That I one thing I have enjoyed in the last year of my life is being out in the real world. I made a video the other day talking about real life. There's nothing wrong with the e-life, but you have to indulge more in real life because virtual reality, that's the problem with a lot of the younger generation. It's all they know. And there's a whole freaking world out here that you got to take a bite out of. Now, I had this beautiful background of Arizona because one, I love the desert. Arizona is like my second favorite state. California is my first because I just love the geography of the West Coast. But a lot of times when you go against the grain, you feel like you are a loner. You feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. You could be surrounded by hundreds of people, like you're crowded on a New York City subway, but you feel like you're a loner. So let's get to the to this one specific article. But before I do that, this guy Coleman Cruz, he's interesting. Now, I remember hearing about him years ago because people like Bill Maher and Ann Coulter and various other people were talking about him. Um, and I'm looking at this guy like, okay, why is he? I looked up his background. I'm like, okay, he's from New Jersey. He's really a Afro Latino descent, which is nothing wrong with that. He's speaking on certain issues that have nothing to do with him. And then they're trying to make him appeal to be some political expert. And I'm like, no. It's not just because of his age. It's just because he can't even really carry an intellectual discussion. And I looked up his failed rap career. And I'm like, yeah, I see why you didn't really make it. But I'll leave it at that. But anyways, I just had to throw this Coleman Cruz out there. I'm like, who the heck are you? And then all of a sudden he's on The View and Joe Rogan. And I'm just like, why? And I can respect Joe Rogan's show. He usually has intelligent people on there and intelligent conversations, whether you agree with the subject matters or not. At least they do actually have an intellectual dialogue happening. Whether that's a beautiful thing. You can hear people talking, and agree with them, disagree with them, and it is what it is. But yeah, I just have to leave it at that. But anyway, so now let's today's forecast. We're all gonna die. House Republicans vote to turn back time on telework policies. The Show Up Act would require federal agencies to revert to their telework policies prior to the COVID pandemic. The House voted 221 to 206, mostly along party lines, which is ridiculous. And bear in mind, crumbling infrastructure, telework for federal employees, end of the world. All right. So, with that being said, this past Wednesday, they passed legislation requiring federal agencies to revert their pre-pandemic telework policies. Although the measure is likely to meet stiff resistance in a democratically controlled Senate, the stopping home office work unproductive problems. What the heck is this nonsense? This is why I lose brain cells with politicians on both sides. The Stopping Home Office Works Unproductive Problems Act, H.R. 139, introduced by Representative James Comer, Representative Kentucky, yeah, because your state is the leading state in America when it comes to economic prosperity, would require agencies to reinstate and apply the telework policies, practices, and levels in effect on December 31st, 2019, within 30 days of the bill's enactment. If agencies want to expand telework beyond 2019 levels, they would have to submit to Congress a plan certified by the Office of Personnel Management. Legislation also requires a study of how telework during the pandemic impacted agencies, missions, and customer service. This is nonsense. And I say, look, I'm a guy in my 40s now, so I look at things differently. But I always say, and I said this before the pandemic, if you want to get young people jazzed about working for your organization, you have to da, 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 get them jazzed in a way that reflects their values and of who they are. I've made videos and talked about so many people working in the private sector who live in third world countries now. They make American versions of six-figure salaries, but they live in Medellin, Colombia. They live in Panama. They live in Ghana. They live in South Africa. They live in Nigeria. They live in Kenya. They live in Singapore. They may live in Japan, Korea. The world is more global now than it ever has been before. And these idiots are trying to get things back to the way they were before the pandemic. The world is not the same as it was before the pandemic. The world might be fully open now, but we're utilizing communications and technologies more than we ever have in human history. Okay? And of course, this is the stupid political nonsense. Comer accused the Biden administration of offering another perk to federal workers instead of improving services that were negatively affected, because they always make everything a political thing. Negatively affected during COVID-19 pandemic, citing long lines at Social Security Administration offices and other federal agency backlogs. Hit newsflash: federal agencies had backlogs before the pandemic. Okay. Then the person said the federal workforce already enjoys many perks not enjoyed by the private sector, including unparalleled job stability, healthy retirement benefits, and reliable pay growth expectations. Comer said, yeah, because you're not going to enjoy this once you leave office, right? Okay. So that's strike one with me with this individual. Strike two, the private sector has intensified telework to make working for their people, working for the organizations, much more competitive. And the work-life balance lifestyle, that's the new wave of work-life balance. But it's a crime for federal government employees to be able to work from home. It's just end of the world, terrorist plots, infrastructures, crumbling. People can have resurrections. People coming across the Mexican US border. But this is the issue that we must tackle and get down. Bravo. Bravo. And once again, both parties are responsible for both of the subject matters I just talked about: illegal immigration, telework. Both parties are responsible. So that's me talking about the Democrats, not talking about illegal immigration, but these sanctuary cities. Because I heard Mayor Adams, and like I said, I'm getting political. I usually don't, but I'm talking bad about both. I'm talking not bad. I'm speaking truth about both sides here. Because I don't do politics, but because Mayor Adams of New York and even the mayor of DC attacked teleworkers because their cities were losing tax revenue and their cities' local businesses were losing money because people were not coming into the city. So because more and more people were working from home, if you work from home more, that means you're not paying tolls, you're not paying to park, you're not having to buy gas, you're not shopping at your local restaurants. So everything revolves around money, family. Remember that. But I think this whole sanctuary city nonsense needs to be done with as well. But that's just my personal opinion. If you break the law, you suffer the consequences. That's the school I come from. I am a great law abiding citizen, and but I leave it at that. And speaking of this nonsense, and here's the thing, as far as I can even use myself as an example. The when the during the pandemic, so right before the pandemic, my passport was about to expire. And I remember going to the post office and renewing my passport. Now, because the lockdown happened, it took me an extra 6 months to get my passport. But let's just be realistic. During that time, even though certain states in the US were open, there was most countries you couldn't go to. And at the time, the only country I wanted to go to was Canada, and they were locked down a lot longer than we were here in the United States of America. So with that being said, and then I believe back then you couldn't even get into specific countries unless you had that thing. I'm not going to mention that because I know you can get flagged, and I don't want to be a person that's putting out misinformation in you. So with that being said, I wasn't going anywhere anyways. And the beautiful thing is that during that time, I was saving a lot of money by not going anywhere. That was the best part about the lockdown. Saved a lot of money, invested a lot of money. And it's crazy, as expensive as things are right now, it's a very beautiful thing. I'm reaping the fruits. A lot of people are reaping the fruits of their labor in regards to saving their money, increasing their income and value, and increasing their assets categories. But to that stupid statement that this person's like, well, they enjoy many perks that the people in the private sector don't enjoy, so they shouldn't be able to enjoy telework. But more and more corporations there's a reason why there is a commercial real estate crisis right now, because more and more corporations are not renewing the leases, because more and more corporations are increasing the telework and they're saving money. It's the American way. Increase profitability, save money, increase your assets. That's the American way for corporations, and that's the American way for working people. But what do I know? Regardless of who's in the White House, governor's house, or mayor's house, regardless of who's serving in Congress, that is the American way, and that's why I love America. All right. But what do I know? Okay. So this story that I found, this one gentleman, this article will come up. Overemployed worker doubles income, pays off student loan debt. And this is a millennial from Arizona. He worked 2 full-time remote work jobs. Okay. He had $100,000 student loan debt, and he was able to make almost 200 grand with his 2 remote jobs. And he began secretly working a second remote job and doubled his annual income. And the impact that this has had on his life was overwhelming, to the point where and he did this straight for 2 years, working in the private sector, bear in mind. So now that the impact that it's had on his life, he's cut down his debts tremendously, because he doesn't have to worry about paying student loans off anymore, number one. Number two, he's moved to another smaller town in Arizona where he loves being out in the middle of nowhere, kind of like where I'm at right now, with this nice background. And he's able to still work a good job as an engineer, I believe. Yeah, not a software engineer, but an engineer. And he's working remotely in the private sector. So, Representative, you are full of it, full of it, full of it, full of it. And I'll leave it at that. So that just shows the nonsense that they try to spew and put out there, and also the crap, because beautiful, proper, pathetic propaganda. All right. So I'll leave it at that. And last but not least, today's forecast. We're all going to die. Now, luckily, there was a 4.8 earthquake within New Jersey, Philadelphia, and New York. They felt it. Luckily, nobody was hurt. And this happened a couple of days ago. And I'm happy that nobody got hurt. Of course, the media had a heart attack. It's like I said, at the end of the day, I remember feeling, knowing that there was an earthquake in California when I was in California, but luckily nothing bad happened to me or anybody that was around. So I'm very happy about that. But at the end of the day, I think I might go live on November to mock the election, because that's what I like to do. But I think I've done a fine job with mocking and both parties, because that's just how I feel about them about nowadays. But to even go more, I talked about the Republicans. We'll talk about the Democrats, the whole immigration situation. If you're here illegally, you should be sent back. Period. Be treated humanely as any person who's ever broken the law in this country before, but you should be sent back to your home country. If you get caught again, that's what federal prisons are for. I'll leave it at that. I'm going to cross the Canadian border in the next couple of weeks, and I have to have my passport and I have to have my stuff in line. So what makes these people special? I'll leave it at that. I'm all for law and order, regardless who's in the White House, governor's house, and mayor's house. Rules are in place for a reason, for public safety and people's safety. But I'll leave it at that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's version, 16th edition of today's forecast. We're all going to die. And like I said, this election, it should be interesting. I know everybody's going to have a heart attack. It's going to be the end of the world if Trump gets back in office. Oh my God. It's going to be the end of the world if Joe Biden stays in office. Oh my God. Help us, help us, help us. But life's too short, man. Just learn to smile, learn to thrive, and do your best to stay alive. You know what I'm saying, family? Don't put too much emphasis on what the media puts out there, because they are great, and I mean great at scaring the heck out of you. That's their job. A guy, Mike Macklin, who I hope goes to InvestFest. You know, nice to have somebody else there from Virginia there. He said the one thing that most consumers in this economy don't ever take into consideration is that if you don't have a plan for your money and your life, trust me, society does. Society does. And that hit me hard. Learning that during the pandemic, that really hit me hard. Because it does. If you don't have a plan for your life, period, not even just your money, if you don't have a plan for your money, society will. If you don't have a plan for your life, society will. You know, because heck, if you go to a lot of major cities and you see a lot of homeless camps, people on the streets everywhere. Eventually, the well-to-do people are going to get tired of seeing stuff like that. You know, I mean, I remember the first time I went to LA. Man, I was in Hollywood, and this woman just came up bothering me, and she was a very nice woman. I didn't think she was homeless, but we were trying to eat, and she tried to ask us for money. That's the first time I was, and they remember the guy was like, "Could you please stop bothering my customers?" You know, it was deep. And I remember this one guy, this young kid I knew. He was he was born and raised here. Miguel, that was his name, but his descent came from Paraguay, in South America. And I remember he was like, he hated going home. Going back to his family's home country, because he's like, you could be at a restaurant. He's like, people will just come up to you on a regular basis and just start begging you for food. Like literally, you could not enjoy a meal. And this kid was in middle school telling me this, and I didn't understand the impact of it then compared to how I feel it now, because we take hearing stuff like that, we take so many things for granted in this country. You know, to be able to go out to eat, enjoy yourself, take a trip, it's a blessing. And the way the cost of living is going now, a lot of people are not going to be able to share that. I think of hot girl summer, hot boy summer this year. I think it's going to be not going to really happen for a lot of people unless they what's the best way to put it? I think it's not going to happen for people if they're not ready, if they don't have the financial means, or they're going to get themselves put into debt even more so. Because it's real out here. And that's why I make fun of the media, because they never really talk about the real issues. And when they do, they water it down. They really do. And it's real out here. And that's why I said a politician, they can't say anything to me unless I'm hearing about economic moves. You know, we live in a capitalist country, and if you're not talking about capitalistic moves, then what the hell are we talking about here? You're just distracting me, and I don't need any more distraction. I think regular, everyday working people need distractions at this point. You know, so I'll leave it at that. But anyways, we're in April. We'll see where things go, you know, and just keep doing what you got to do. It's almost like I said, tax season is almost at an end. The deadline is near, so I got to get my stuff done and prepare for that headache, because now it's more of a headache than it ever has been before. But we're going to keep trucking through this life and go from there. All right. So on that note, family, do great three things. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a great night. I'm glad I was able to get this done today. I didn't think I was going to be able to have the energy or the muscle to do it, but I'm glad I did. And keep doing you. You know, keep doing you, because nobody else is going to. You know, and either way, just find a way to put a smile on your face. Find a way to put a smile on other people's faces, because trust me, in this life, more and more people need it. In a big, big, big way. Trust me on that one. So trust me on that one. It's real in the field, as they say. It's real in the field. But that's how the game goes, family. So I'm out. Take care. Thank you for the subscribers that have been holding on. I think I've been losing some subscribers because of the algorithm or whatever the case may be. So, you know, we'll see what happens and go from there. Take care, family. I'm out. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully you're having a great day. If you've been watching Larry's Anything Goes programming, you know that we are not only providing great financial intelligence content as much as possible by interviewing other financial professionals, professionals in the travel industry, real estate industry, etc., and so forth, but we provide various services when it comes to specific products that we sell, from anything that you would actually find on Amazon or actually at Walmart, etc., and so forth. And we are actually providing specific products due to today's current crisis and whatnot, to ensure that we provide the right services and products that you need at a reasonable price when it comes to medical face masks, when it comes to hand sanitizer, and when it comes to latex gloves and things of that nature, and etc., and so forth, toilet paper, paper towels. But we have what you need. Also, family, don't forget that Larry's Anything Goes is a part of an affiliate marketing network known as Gold Standard Partners, where you have the opportunity to buy cryptocurrency and allow others to invest with you as becoming an affiliate marketing partner. And obviously, if they purchase a package with the program, you're able to make money off their package purchases and make money off of their crypto purchases and things of that nature. If you want to join, please follow the links in the description, and I'll give you a call as soon as you sign up and purchase a package, and we'll go from there. But definitely, it's all about the best way to make money moves is to have currency with one another, and to ensure that currency is always being spoken of on all levels, so it benefits everyone and not just one specific person. That's a lot of things that people forget about. So think about joining the program, and we'll be able to go from there. But if not, either way, it's always appreciated. And thank you for watching. And hopefully you guys have a great day and continuously make money moves so you don't live broke like a fool. Take care. As you can see, with our various products, we have our financial apparel, as you see, wearing There's Anything Goes t-shirt, financial intelligence is sexy, face masks, latex gloves, things of that nature, to obviously ensure the safety of you and your family all at the same time. We want to ensure that you get the best products and see the actual products that we're actually providing for you, and giving you another view of not only the shirts and the medical masks, but actually another view of actual latex gloves and the actual hand sanitizer. Because one thing we've learned throughout this unfortunate crisis is that we have to take more precautionary measures to ensure not only the safety for ourselves, but for our families. And having a great pair of hand sanitizers, latex gloves, and medical face masks will ensure that safety. And with all that being said, hopefully you guys will check out our online store. We have the various products that you see here. with a couple of clicks, especially if you're paying via PayPal, it makes life that much easier for you to purchase our various products, especially during this unfortunate situation. You see the apparel from Larry's Anything Goes. We have the medical products when it comes to hand sanitizer, latex gloves, medical face masks, and things of that nature, and various other products. So please check out Larry's Anything Goes. Support small local businesses. We greatly appreciate it, and hopefully that you have a good day.
Mike, now.